Welcome to Moments in Time and Space, a microfiction podcast, bringing you tales of horror and suspense with your host, Aaron Maracle. Hello everyone. When you're young, you feel invincible. Nothing can hurt you, and you know everything there is to know about the world. No one can tell you otherwise, and you think old people are just a nuisance. However, old people reach advanced age for a reason, and maybe it would be wise to listen to them once in a while. Did I not tell you this place was awesome? Jake smiled as he gestured towards a large body of water that lay before him and his girlfriend Linda. The occasional sound of a hidden game bird broke the silence of the lake. Surrounded by thick, tall trees, this secluded piece of nature was tranquil. "How'd you find this place?" Linda asked. Jake began to shrug off his clothes. "I was flying a drone near here and went off course. Next thing I know, I see this place. It didn't take me long to figure out the old mining road led up here." "And you're sure no one else comes up here?" "Absolutely. The old mine shut down 20 years ago. It's just you, me, and the fishes." Stripped down to his underwear, Jake waded into the lake until it was up to his waist. He took a deep breath and plunged underwater. The lake was cool against his skin. He felt refreshed by the sudden temperature change. His head broke the surface and he called to Linda. "You coming in?" Linda wrung her hands. "Are you sure this is okay? Come on. Live a little. What's the worst that can happen?" Looking around to make sure no one else was present, Linda began to slowly remove her clothes. Jake flipped onto his back and floated lazily. He gazed at the blue sky above him and focused on maintaining his buoyancy. His concentration was broken by the sound of splashing and a pair of feminine hands pulled down on his shoulders. Jake managed to grab a quick breath of air before he was plunged into the water. A few quick strokes, and he resurfaced to the sound of Linda laughing at him. "You think that was funny?" Jake sputtered. "Absolutely hilarious," Linda giggled. With a growl, Jake grabbed Linda and playfully wrestled with her. Linda screeched and fought back, trying to splash water in Jake's face. The sound of the couple's horseplay echoed all around them as they tried to dunk each other under the water. "Hey, you can't swim here." The shout interrupted the couple's fun, and Jake glanced towards the shore. He saw an old man a few feet back from the edge of the water. The newcomer was wearing a flannel shirt and a pair of worn coveralls marked with rips and tears. He was frantically waving towards Jake and Linda with a dirty blue handkerchief. It looked like he was signaling them to come to shore. "You can't swim here," the old man shouted again. "Do you own this lake?" Jake shouted back. No." "Then we can swim here." The old man shouted something, but Jake began to swim further out into the lake. Linda followed, and soon the old man's shouts were almost inaudible. Jake began to tread water, and Linda looked back nervously at the shore before doing the same. "That old guy sounds pretty upset," Linda said. "Maybe we should leave." Jake rolled his eyes. "You're not going to let a grumpy old man boss you around, are you?" "Well, I guess you're—" Something pulled Linda beneath the surface of the lake, and she yelped once before vanishing from view. "Linda? Linda?" Jake shouted, wondering if he should dive under and search for her. Seconds later, Linda resurfaced, screaming at the top of her lungs. Jake reached out and grabbed blindly at her. His hand locked around her ankle and he tried to pull himself closer to her. Instead, Linda's leg offered no resistance and Jake wound up pulling it towards him. To his horror, Jake saw that the limb had been sheared off from Linda's body. "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus!" Jake shouted. The panicked young man let go of Linda's leg and began to swim hard for shore. His muscles burned as he paddled frantically to flee from where Linda had been attacked. He tried to ignore the terror of what he had just witnessed and focus on making it to safety. It was only 40 feet away, and if he pushed himself hard as he could, Jake knew he could reach the shallows quickly. From beneath him, the beaked mouth of a humongous snapping turtle rose up and clamped down on Jake's torso. He screamed as the razor-sharp jaws cut deep into his flesh. He beat against the horned head of the turtle until his hands were bloody. The reptile tightened his jaws and dragged Jake beneath the surface of the water to meet the same fate as Linda. The old man shook his head as he watched the grisly attack unfold before him. When it was all over, he took his dirty handkerchief and wiped the sweat away from his forehead. "I told him they couldn't swim here," he muttered. Watch where you swim. Thank you for listening. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. You can also follow me on Twitter at MomentsInTAS. Feel free to recommend this podcast to others and help it grow. The opening and closing theme is Creepy Night by Daniel Carlton. Until next time, be safe be smart, and be well. See you soon.